The Swan Who Didn't Know. On a warm summer afternoon, a mother duck sat patiently on her nest, her heart full of love as she waited for her eggs to hatch. She had been keeping them warm for weeks, whispering lullabies to them, dreaming of the day they would crack open and reveal her precious babies. Then, all at once, crick, crack, pop, 5 tiny ducklings pushed their way into the world, their soft yellow feathers glowing like the sun. Their tiny beaks opened and they chirped excitedly, snuggling close to their mother. But one egg remained, a single large egg that hadn't hatched. Mother Duck frowned. Why hasn't this one opened? Maybe it's not ready, an old duck offered kindly. And then, crack! The egg split apart, revealing a duckling, but something was different. He wasn't yellow like the others. His feathers were grey, his beak was black, and he was bigger than his siblings. A murmur spread through the gathered ducks. Why is he so different? One asked. What an ugly duckling, a pig snorted from the nearby farmyard. Mother Duck's feathers ruffled in anger. He is not ugly, she said firmly. He is my child, and he is special. She nuzzled him gently, making sure he felt just as loved as his brothers and sisters. But deep inside, the little grey duckling couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The next day, the mother duck led her ducklings to the pond. The 5 yellow ones splashed and played, their giggles echoing across the water. But the grey duckling hesitated. "Mama," he whispered, "why am I grey? Why don't I look like them?" Mother Duck smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. "Because you are unique, my love." "But why is my beak black?" he asked again. "Because it makes you special." The little duckling lowered his head. He didn't want to be unique, he wanted to belong. So, when no one was looking, he quietly swam to the edge of the pond, stepped onto the soft earth, and waddled away. Through fields, across meadows, and past streams, the little duckling searched for others like him. He met turkeys. "Have you seen any ducklings like me?" he asked hopefully. The turkeys only shook their heads. "We've never seen a duckling as grey as you." He met geese by the stream. "Have you seen any ducklings like me?" The geese tilted their heads. "You're much bigger than any duckling we've ever seen." He met chickens in a barn. "Have you seen any ducklings like me?" The chickens clucked and shook their feathers. "No, we've never seen a duckling with a beak as black as yours." With each rejection, the little duckling's heart ached more. "Maybe I don't belong anywhere," he thought. Finally, he came upon a tall tree. A wise old owl sat on a branch, watching the world below. "Excuse me," the duckling said, voice trembling. "Have you seen any ducklings like me?" The owl blinked. "No," he hooted, "I haven't." "But why does it matter?" Tears filled the duckling's eyes. "Because I don't want to be alone." The owl studied him carefully, then said, "Perhaps your mother was right. It is not what's on the outside that makes you special, it is what's inside your heart." But the duckling didn't understand. He only felt empty. Heartbroken, he wandered until he reached a quiet lake. There were no birds, no voices, no one to tell him he didn't belong. "I will stay here," he whispered to himself. "I will hide forever." The seasons changed. The warm, golden days of summer turned into the crisp air of autumn. The leaves fell, and the world turned red and gold. Then came winter. The lake froze over, snow blanketed the world, and the duckling shivered in his hiding place. But he stayed, until one day the ice began to melt. The cold grip of winter loosened, and the warmth of spring returned, and with it, something beautiful. The duckling was dozing in his hiding place when he heard a soft splash. He peeked through the reeds, and his breath caught in his throat. A bird, the most elegant creature he had ever seen, was gliding across the water. Its feathers were pure white, its long neck curved gracefully, and its orange beak shone in the sunlight. The duckling's heart ached. I wish I were that beautiful. The swan turned, noticing him. "Why are you hiding?" she asked kindly. The duckling shrank back. "Because I am ugly." The swan laughed, a sound like rippling water. "Ugly? Why would you think that?" The duckling frowned in confusion. "Because I don't look like the other ducklings." The swan tilted her head. "Come closer." Hesitantly, the duckling stepped forward and looked into the water. And then, he gasped. Gone was the awkward grey body. Gone was the black beak that made him feel different. Staring back at him was a graceful white swan, just like the one before him. I'm not a duckling," he whispered in awe. "I'm a swan." The swan smiled. "Yes, and a beautiful one." Tears filled his eyes, but this time they weren't from sadness. For the first time,